Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of Hops and Hedges, the podcast where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist, and I am so glad you're here. Hops and Hedges is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, and you're going to want to stick around until the end of the show for an exclusive discount code to use for their powerful CRM software and mobile app. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There we go. With me today, I'm very pleased to introduce our guest today. Nadia Frost is a trail building consultant, forest therapy guide, psychotherapist, and owner of Wander Roots in Toronto. Oh my gosh, Nadia, thank you again so much for coming on the show. I am absolutely fascinated about what you do, and I can't wait to hear more about it and your story. So for those who are listening who maybe don't know you or your company or what you do, can you give us the lowdown as to who you are, what you do, and why you're amazing?
Thank you. That's so nice. So I think everybody knows what a psychotherapist is. So I see clients virtually or on the trails here in the around where I live in Etobicoke. But 3 years ago, I took on a training as a forest therapy guide. So what I do in that function is I take groups of people into local forests and trails, and I help them connect with nature. And so there's a lot of science behind that we can maybe cover later. But essentially, it's mental health through anxiety, symptoms of depression. And so that's why I created Wander Roots. So Wander Roots is a company that will either lead or a corporate walk, or just I've done individual walks, I've done community walks, city walks, and to help people connect. And then the trail consulting sort of naturally developed from that. I took the training so I can help communities, conservation areas, even private land develop not private, but forest therapy trail so that I or others could take anybody on those to, again, help them connect with nature.
Wow, it is. I just think it's so cool, and it's so important. I know that a lot of people are struggling right now. We're struggling with the state of the world. We're struggling with the economy. We're struggling with how much things cost, and just finding good employees. Like, it just seems sometimes like that snowball effect, right? It's just one thing after another. When we think we've got a good footing, then another snowball comes out of nowhere, right? And I know that I am not alone in feeling like that. I can certainly feel that sense of overwhelm. I am excited for 2026. I'm feeling very optimistic, but I certainly know what that can feel like. And I have personally witnessed and experienced the power of going on a forest therapy walk or a guided walk or grounding, right?
Yeah.
And earthing with bare feet and connecting to the ground. So for people who are tuning in who maybe aren't familiar with that term, just earthing and grounding, can you give us a summary as to what that is?
Well, you've described it well. It's connecting to nature with your body. So through evolution, we've disconnected ourselves to nature. We put on shoes, we live in houses, we walk on sidewalks. So how often, I mean, as a kid, I think I spent plenty of time walking barefoot on grass, but as we get older, it's not something that people are naturally drawn to. I'm going to get my clothes dirty. All the
Mm-hmm.
that our parents said, to just move away from. So earthing is, I don't know how much you know about it yourself, but and I don't know how much I want to go into it, but there's an energy field that happens within our body into the earth that helps us that's restorative. And when we're connecting with our hands, which you probably do all the time with soil or earth or with our feet or just lying down on the ground, it helps our bodies. So it helps with possibly inflammation. So there's different reports that have been done. There's a really good documentary called The Earthing Movie
Hmm.
that's available right
I
now.
want to watch that for sure.
YouTube, and it helps explain anyway the science behind it if people want to go and learn more about it. But earthing and grounding specifically, the way I teach clients to do it is through mindfulness and just the action of feeling more secure and safe in one space at one time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are stuck either in the past where anger holds on, and then or in the future, like you described, like the news, the state of the world, like we have no control necessarily over that. And anxiety and stress and fear belongs to the future. But when we focus on the present, that's where we find peace. And that's what
Right.
grounding is. So you can do grounding just putting your feet on the ground and feeling like you're growing roots to feel more safe and secure, or through one of your senses, observing, smelling. I always keep like essential oil next to me. So in between clients, I can have a little moment. You have some too?
I have mine right here. Mine's actually a neroli
Okay.
oil, which I just find I'm not sure. It's an oil that my mom really likes. And even
Okay.
though it doesn't necessarily smell like my mom. I find like my mom smells like fresh laundry and like baking stuff.
Right.
I don't know, like fresh bread and laundry is what my mom smells like. If mom's listening, I mean that in a good way, mom. Like you smell good. But I know that she really likes neroli, so it's just it does remind me of her.
It's a
So
connection. Well, anything I think that makes you feel good, they are essential oils, and I'm by no means a specialist there, but that have been known to help with certain things. Like we think of lavender and sleep, but
mhm,
whatever makes you feel better, you can have that next to you. And for 30 seconds, just be mindful and have that little moment where you feel a bit safer and
yeah.
at peace. So with
There's
if you can
oops,
replicate that throughout the day, then you're practicing mindfulness throughout the day, and then with time, it's just gonna help you feel better.
right. And I know that mindfulness has been a huge component in my life too. So I was diagnosed with depression in 2014, and I've been thankfully medicated since. But it's been a long kind of journey of discovering either different coping mechanisms, or I've been in situations where panic attacks just completely come over, whether it's a social situation or I find certain things to be triggering, like certain
Mm,
subject matter that I just can't seem to not worry about the future or think about how that thing maybe affected me in the past. And really just putting a full stop and thinking about now. And it could be something so simple as I usually have one right here, but I packed it because I'm going on a trip. But it's like a sensory ball. And
yeah.
so it's just something to, when you're feeling a texture,
Mhm.
you can't really think of what was or what might be because you're focusing on this texture right here. It's a right now, in the moment, right? The essential oils, you can smell it right now, right? One of the books that, actually, do I have it here? Probably do, but will I be able to find it?
Mm.
Yes, but I can't read the author. I discovered this book in a thrift store called Don't Just Do Something, Sit There.
I've never heard of that.
And right when I read it, like just the title, I didn't know anything about this book. It was in the mindfulness, like self-help, personal development section at a thrift bookstore. And it pulled me in.
Mm,
And what it is it's actually a book that really summarizes mindfulness in terms or from the point of view of Buddhism. And it's that anxiety of, oh, I got to get this done. I got to do this. I got to be productive. I should do this. I should do that. It's like, don't do something. Just sit there. Like actually just sit there. That's it.
well, forest therapy has a practice called sit spot, which was part of our training as guides, and now some guides will use that as an invitation. Find a
Wow.
spot, sit there, and focus on one of your senses, or we might give an invitation. Again, the idea is to get out of your head and just sit and observe, feel.
Mhm.
Feel with your body, not your head. But I wanna show you my rock collection.
Oh my gosh. We have something else in common.
Oh, yes? Well, they're just shells, and I have
Oh,
feathers.
so cool.
So you have your, what do you call it, fidget
Yeah, it's
sensory.
kind of like a little textured, it's like a stress ball, but it's filled with beads instead of just like squeezy sand or something. Yeah.
So I have these, and sometimes I'll bring them with me. I have favorite rocks I can't give away, but I'll bring rocks for clients. Sometimes I'll put them in boiling water, and
Yeah.
then when it's cold, I'll get everybody to hold on to a rock and then have the heat transferred to them. Or again, it's something that might show a client, because it's a really good mindful exercise to walk on a beach or somewhere, and then
Yeah.
or things that you're attracted to, and then pick them up.
So that is the earthing or like bare feet on the ground. We kind of talked about a little bit, and then there's the grounding, which is actually this energy. Like there's actually an energy field that's been scientifically proven. Like the electrical field and the not the pH, the electric. What is it? KP something or whatever that field is. or megahertz. No, that's sound. Oh my gosh, I'm totally
It's
blanking on
related
what it is.
the movie explains how it reduces inflammation in the body. Just
Yeah, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, and it's something like 20 minutes a day. Like, it takes about 20 minutes for your body to equalize, to be the same as nature. Like, the planet has its own equilibrium in terms of electricity and energy, and by connecting skin to the earth for 20 minutes, your magnets and your electricity in your own body levels out to the same level as the earth. Like, it's just mind-blowing. And so what about I know it as Shinrin-yoku, which is the forest bathing, right? So
yeah.
there's earthing and grounding, which is kind of touch to the ground. Can you talk about forest bathing and what is that?
So Shinrin-yoku is a Japanese term that was coined when they discovered that this practice was helping people. It means bathing in the essence of the forest. So that's why we refer to it as forest bathing. I use the term forest therapy. Sometimes forest bathing isn't really clear. I had one of my trainer who works in Kingston describe that somebody showed up with a bathing suit once saying workshops. If
Yeah,
people aren't clear on that, mind you, forest therapy can also be confusing because then people's like, I don't want to do therapy with a bunch of people in the forest, and that's not.
right.
You're not sharing unless you want to, but it's not really the place to share your problems. But what we say as guide is that I'm not the therapist, and because I'm actually a therapist, I make that very clear with my
Right.
group that the forest becomes your therapist. I'm merely here as a guide.
Right.
Just a bit of story, the history in Japan in the 1980s, the country saw a large amount of people moving towards the city to respond to the needs that was happening there, just like all over the world, just a little bit later. And so because of the industrial world, and then people started having more issues. So they saw an increase in autoimmune
Mm.
disease. And they decided to study that and to say, well, what can we
What
do?
happened? Yeah.
And somebody said, "What if we bring people back into nature?" And that started the original science, or proving through science that bringing people back to the forest is actually helpful. And that's been then replicated all over.
Hmm. And you
Uh,
said that's like 1980s,
is they
right?
started the process.
Like, there's still so much in the science world. It's still quite a young. I don't want to say theory because it's already proven, right? It's a scientific process that we already know a lot of the benefits from, and we're still researching it. We're still finding out more about it, and there's certainly still a lot of misunderstanding around it. Like you said, I couldn't imagine someone showing up in a bathing suit, but that's the expectation, right?
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to just lay in the forest floor and just take in the sense. But our indigenous communities have known this forever. I mean, a lot of people are just not listening.
Yeah.
Now that it's being studied, that we know why. We know what happens.
Right.
So
I've been doing a little bit of research too into the concept of two-eyed seeing. So it's the Western science with Eastern philosophies, right? But also it does connect back to our indigenous peoples too and their belief systems. And we're seeing these concepts through science and through the history and the stories of the indigenous peoples. And it's a really cool way to look at concepts in the world for sure.
yes,
So Wander Roots started, you said last year is when it started? And then you've been forest therapist for 3 years?
yes,
Yep, very
yeah.
cool.
I've
And
been
so I always kind of like to work a little bit backwards with guests because I'm always interested to hear people's journeys of how they got there. So you were already a psychotherapist before Wander Roots and before getting into forest therapy.
Mm.
And was there kind of a moment where that it was either a light switch that went off, or did somebody suggest it, or like what made the transition happen for you?
to for me to jump into forest therapy. You mean?
Yeah.
I think it was just serendipity. I think I was just there space in my life, with 3 kids. They're teenagers now, but it was only 3 years ago, and because my work was mainly virtual.
Mhm.
And I grew up in the forest on the lake, like with my brother. We live in a small village on the water, kind of isolated. So nature was our playground. So I knew
Mm.
instinctively that I needed to get back there. So I needed to bring my work there,
Yeah.
and that sort of popped up on my Instagram, I think. And instantly I knew that. this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. It completely meets my needs. And when I met with the group for the first time, I remember seeing I found my people because we
Yeah.
all had the same stories.
I just got goosebumps, right? Just it's so crazy how it could just be like a post on social media, and as soon as you see it or you hear it, you're like, "That's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing."
The connection I was missing, it was that element that I needed because of course I can go out and I can be in the forest, but if I make it my work and it's related to my passion, we talk about, moving towards work that you're passionate about and it never becomes work, but that's part of it. That's a portion of it and that's what I want to work on.
Mhm. I love on the questionnaire, I'm always asking people for either life advice or career advice. And in terms of life advice, you mentioned that, of course, it depends on where someone is in their life. But one thing that you keep coming back to again and again is not to wait for things to be perfect. Start where you are and just go for it. So where does this lesson show up for you in life and in your career?
I got on social media. I'm not I
Yeah.
don't particularly like it. I'm self-conscious. And I know that I can't spend a lot of time on it because it drains me, but I also know that I wanna educate, I wanna communicate, and that's just how today we get the word out. It was really hard for me to start promoting myself and promoting the business, but then and I kept hearing that, and I don't know where I would have heard that. I'm sure a lot of people were talking about it, and it's like, "Stop waiting
Yeah.
for the to be perfect, to have the right clothes, for the weather to be good, for your hair to be perfect, to have the right words that you want to communicate.
Yeah.
Just you have a thought, record it, do it, and then post it. And to me, I always kept thinking like if I do that, then 6 months from now, like a year from now, imagine where you're gonna be. I mean, I'm sure you have a similar story. It couldn't have been easy
Mhm.
to like start a podcast related to horticulture.
No, I didn't think it would be a reality. For me, it was always just kind of this, wouldn't that be nice if I
Yeah.
did a podcast? And then, yeah, it took a colleague pretty much daring me to do it. He's like, well, what do you have to lose? Just do it. Like, don't wait until you're a professional podcaster. You become a professional podcaster by podcasting. So just
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
it wasn't until he kind of pointed it out that I was like, oh, yeah, what am I waiting for? Right. But
Yes.
something else with the waiting for things to be perfect, right? Especially in terms of social media, is I've really seen a shift, I would say probably in the last 10-ish years. I mean, my business is only 6 years old, but I've been in the industry of landscape horticulture for going into 13 years now. And when I went into Fanshawe College, the social media that was out there was this perfectionism. We saw people on their yachts and on the airplane and drinking champagne, and buying expensive luxury clothes. And what I think is happening much more quickly now is you're seeing a lot more people being human on social media and just showing up in their full capacity, whatever their capacity is in that moment. So it's a lot less fake. And that's
Really?
the part of, yeah, so that's the part that I'm really trying to lean into with personally my own social media, my own branding and getting my word out there is that I do want to market the person I am, not the person who I think people want to work with, because then they're going to be disappointed. So I'm going to show up wherever I can online, because if your business isn't found online, you don't exist, right? So, but I'm going to show up as weird and wonderful me. And if that isn't people's jam, then they can move on to another account that is, right? So, but I do wish you all the best in the social media journey because it is ongoing and never ending. But I like what you said, it's just one step at a time. And one of my favorite phrases is progress over perfection,
Yeah.
right? If you do, like so many people get that analysis paralysis, me included, where, oh, I got to post every day. No, maybe start doing one post a week, right? But if you do that consistently, you'll have 50 posts at the end of the year, right?
Yeah. It's
So
the
I like
I
that.
encour I encourage people to plan though. So it's if you wanna move forward with that, don't let necessarily how you feel control what you're gonna do. As long as
Yes.
what you're gonna do is in line with your values and is important to you. But it's
Hmm.
been helpful. Now technology allows us to do that. Plan it and then move with it. If you don't plan it, then you're gonna let,
And
you
it
know,
doesn't happen.
mood the weather, how you feel, saying
Yep.
it's not this week, and but then you don't move forward, right?
And it's interesting how I find many entrepreneurs and business owners, even senior managers, we're really good at scheduling meetings or appointments with other people. With a client, we're never late for a client meeting,
Yeah.
or we're always ready when our patient or whoever shows up for a meeting with us. But when we need to do something, we'll just maybe not put it in the schedule, then it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
Or we put it in the schedule, and when it comes up and when it comes time to do the thing, it's like, "Oh, well, I have some flexibility. Like, I don't actually need to do that." You put it in the schedule because past you knew that current you needed you to do the thing right now. Oh, just do the thing. Just do the
Yeah,
thing.
just do the thing, but you're
I
right.
actually have it written on my vision board right here. Just do the thing. What else do I have in here? Stop playing small. Do the right thing even when it's hard. What else is on my vision board? That's so funny. How do you want this day, this week, this year, this life to go? And I have another one that says, don't overthink it. You already know what you need to do. Just do the thing.
I have one for you.
Okay.
What if everything turns out all right?
I love that.
Mhm.
So many times, the what if is always a negative thing. What
Yes.
if I start this podcast and everybody hates it? What if I say something inappropriate on the internet and it's there forever? Right?
Yeah.
But what if something we say, even you and I today in this episode, you
Mhm.
might say something that is going to give someone a light bulb moment 10 years from now? That is so cool.
Planting seeds, right?
Yeah.
So, it's so easy to get hooked on what's gonna go wrong, and it's
Mhm.
a natural thing, we do that, it's our survival instinct, but we can train your brain to focus on, "Well, what if everything works out?"
Right. Yeah, I love those phrases. I swear by the end of the year this is just covered in them.
Mhm.
And once this gets filled up, then I start putting them on this. I have two vision boards. I've got one behind my laptop and then one behind me. So as the season progresses, this gets more and more full.
Mhm.
So I still have lots that I want to talk to you about, but I think I need a drink. So I know you are a tea drinker.
Yeah.
So what are you having? What
Oh,
sort of tea are you working on there?
well, right now, today, I made some of this tea here, I brought them for you to see because I like to promote local businesses, so
Yeah.
Forest therapy guiding involves a tea ceremony. So I learned how to harvest my own tea, and through that process, I discovered, you know what? Until I get more training on that, I think I'm gonna focus on those who know how to harvest and harvesting the right thing.
Yep.
Right now, I'm drinking forest chai.
Oh my gosh, I love chai.
It's from a company in Collingwood called Heartful Herbals. So, heartfulherbals.ca, and I really enjoy it. So again, it's got chaga and turkey tail
Herbals.ca.
mushroom. But I brought some other ones because Foggy River Farm, also from Ontario, Northern
Oh,
Ontario,
nice.
harvests their own herbs to make tea. And this one is called Forest Edge. So it's one of my favorite because once people have done a forest therapy walk, then we get to taste the forest. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And it's spruce tip, sage, and peppermint. But my very first tea that I bought was from Tibo. Tibo's Tea, Tibo. She's an Indigenous woman and she's often at Brickworks in the Don Valley in Toronto.
Okay.
Her tea is for sale there. This one is La Vie en Rose.
Oh,
It has other ones that I love that are also a bit more like the Forest Edge that have more of an evergreen taste. So she's wonderful too, and she's often there. You can talk to her at the farmer's market.
that's
So
so cool. I've never I'm trying to think. As soon as I read it in your questionnaire that you've harvested and done harvesting of your own teas and making them, and I think I've maybe done my own chamomile at one time, but it was so long ago that I can't even tell you for sure if it was chamomile. So it's time to do it again.
dandelions, I mean, like there's so many things that you can do. It's just you have to obviously know what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
go for the information. What I learned the wrong way. You can't pick up things necessarily that are on the ground. 'Cause
Okay.
who knows what animals have been on it. We're taught not to harvest from growing plants, but if you do it the proper way, then and in small doses, so you're not hurting the tree, like cedar, for example, we should look at cedar tree, not cedar edges. So there's a difference there. Right. I just love the idea. I think that'll be my retirement project.
Very cool.
Dig
I've
into
was given a what do you call it? A little sprouter to like make your own mini sprouts, like to harvest. You grow from seed and like you get all these tiny little sprouts and then you can harvest them and eat them. Yeah, it's like a huge, I don't know if it's called sprouts. Somebody's gonna totally call me out on this on the podcast because I can't even think what it's called. But there's this whole movement of people growing their own greens in like a plastic or glass container. And because they're so small, they are so full of nutrients and vitamins because it's not the whole plant. It's just the leafy greens, microgreens. That's what they're called. Microgreens. That's what I meant to say. But I came across, again, probably social media. Somebody just posted something that he uses or he grows microgreens of dandelions. So when the dandelions go to seed, he actually goes and harvests these seeds to create these microgreens of dandelions, which are jam packed full of vitamins and nutrients.
Mhm.
So I'm going to try that this spring. We just have to wait for the snow to go.
Okay, that's good.
I am not drinking a tea. I do have a beer with me. I am drinking a Belgian moon or a blue moon, as it's called over in Europe. But yeah, I had a bit of a morning and an afternoon. So for our interview today, I am partaking in a little blue moon. It's like a happy beer. I don't know. I just like the design. I like the color. Blue, it's very calming, right? So
Friday.
Friday afternoon. Nadia, cheers to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank
I'm
you.
just gonna have a sip of this. So good. So good. Yeah, I actually I wasn't gonna get into it, but I'd like to pay a little homage. So I did just this morning discover that one of my friends has passed away.
Oh,
And she was an older lady that I often did crafting projects with. I It took me off guard because nobody like I wasn't messaged, nothing was posted online. The family is keeping it very quiet. And it just it kind of hit me like that I didn't see her or yeah. Ugh. So that's kind of where I'm at. I wish there wasn't snow because I could go for a forest walk.
oh, you can go for a forest walk anytime.
Not me. I don't like the cold. I'm a big baby.
Like,
I'm a
we just
40-year-old baby.
better two can mitts and then the full scarf on.
Yes, and I do have a pair of snow pants that are high visibility, like construction trade grade snow pants. So you've inspired me. I will
Maybe you
maybe do
just
that.
sit spot. Maybe you just go sit. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Something else I like to do, earlier we were talking about being in the moment, and then when you're saying sit spot, it totally just reminded me now. If I'm really upset about something, I will actually one of my favorite things to do is go for a car wash.
Oh, yeah, I've never heard that before.
Right? So because you can't get out. So
Right.
it's kind of the don't just do something, sit there, right? It's your car's in neutral. The machine is going to pull you through. So hands off the wheel, hands off the pedals. You're turning off the car and you're just release, like just
You're not
surrender.
responding,
Surrender is the word. Yeah.
listening, observing, feeling too.
Smelling, like the smell of the soap. I've always liked it since I was a kid, right? And all the bubble gum colors, like there's something so it's very grounding for me to just sit there and to be present in that moment. So if anybody is looking for a little time out and you're on the road, maybe just pop in for a little car wash before you go home.
Put that
Highly
on.
recommend it. It's not as good as forest bathing, but
No.
it's also pretty good.
All that's available, then you go
Yeah.
for it.
What else did I want to talk about? I know what I want to talk about. So, 16, you actually went to go and do your master's degree to become a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
And at that time, so how old were your kids then?
16, so I had a 6-year-old, a 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old, all little boys.
And you went and got your master's.
Again, it was just a moment, like, I had to do that. It was written in the stars, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before 2016, did you always have a passion for therapy? Like, is this something?
No.
No.
We moved in Toronto from Vancouver. Kids then. I was pregnant with my third, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm sure I'm gonna have a third boy." And right away after he was born, I started looking for help for parenting because it was the most important thing for me was to establish a really good connection and relationship with my children. So then I heard a facilitator at my first son's school. I then joined the organization. It's still called Parent Education Network. I became a facilitator. So then I would start facilitating in schools and in daycares, talk about parenting. And the more I did that, the more I found that I loved it. And people would come see me, ask me questions. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not really qualified to help you any further.
Right.
I thought, well, if I love this, how can I then continue helping parents? Because my initial expertise was in parenting, and that's
Hmm.
what pursue, and then it evolved from there. But in that moment, I talked to my husband and I said, Can we really do this?" I had a business degree, not actually anything related to psychology, but there's a program through Yorkville University that allowed you to do your master's online, and all you
Huh.
need degree and some reference letter, and then explain why you're interested in this. And so, yeah, I started that in 2016, and I don't know, I think it was the late 30s then.
Yeah.
So it was challenging, but again, I had no problem. People who think that they can't go back to school, like, think again. I was not
Mhm.
a student ever. High school, up in Quebec where I went, or university, but this was simple because, again, I just felt it in my body that that's where I needed to go. I was passionate about it. So whether it was ethics or group counseling, or psychoanalysis, it's like it was just it was not easy. I absorbed it and I learned and I made it my own at the end of it.
It's interesting you mentioned Yorkville University. So I've actually twice now started, restarted, and then I ended up not continuing, but doing a leadership and sustainability master's. First time through Yorkville and the second time through Cornell University. And for me, I think it was a financial thing. It got quite expensive in order to get it done.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't make it work. But I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident now that, you know what, maybe next year or the year after. I would love to do an online degree in environmental psychology, but I don't believe one's available. Have
Okay.
you heard this term before?
Yes, but I don't know where one would get education.
I
But there's
believe
one.
there's like 3 universities in the globe that offer it, and it's in person.
Maybe it's your signal to, like, move somewhere else for a while. But I wanna say my
Mhm.
husband my biggest supporter, and that's why I was able to do all this, but he's the one who said, "We can take money out of our RSPs for free, no penalties," and
Yep,
that's how I paid for my master's, and then we've slowly paid it back, no penalties. I had to keep
right.
working
Yeah,
master's, so I worked at the federal government, did my classes at night, but, and yeah, the price kept going up to do that, but we figured it out, and it worked out.
that's so awesome. I'm also very blessed and grateful to my husband because I was 20 at the time and I was at the bottom of the barrel. I had just lost another job because I couldn't keep a job and I just kept getting fired or let go or usually at that 3-month probationary period. You know, they
Mhm.
try you out for 3 months and then around that last week, they'd be like, "Yeah, you're not really a good fit." And I couldn't figure out like why don't I fit anywhere? Well, it's because I kept trying to be somebody I'm not, right? In order to fit into all these boxes. And it was really my husband that kind of sat me down because it was really at the bottom of the bottom. And I pretty much said something along the lines of, well, I'm just going to go to Tim Hortons and work there until I can't work anymore because, you know, I don't think Tim Hortons will fire me. And he just said, time out, full stop. We're okay financially. I want you to go home and see what Western University and Fanshawe College has to offer because they're both in our city. So we have two, you know, established
Yeah.
educational facilities right here
Yeah.
and find something that you want to do. Don't do it because you think you should. Like, don't go get a business degree at Western if you think that's what you should do. Look at their offerings and do something you want to do because we can. Like, I got you. And I never would have. I never would have without his support. So,
Really helps to have that one person, right, who's going to encourage you and give you a little push.
yeah, I couldn't even imagine. Well, I wouldn't have done it without him. I absolutely wouldn't have. And actually, I wouldn't have even discovered this industry of landscape and horticulture and horticultural therapy, right? Landscape construction, design, build, maintenance. Like there's this whole world, soil and biodiversity, right? And animal corridors. Like it just keeps going. If he didn't tell me to look online because I didn't know this industry existed, I had no idea. And then I looked on Fanshaw's website and they're teaching landscape design. I'd never heard of it before.
There was a connection, right? You just knew.
Right like that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the thing. This is
Mhm.
the thing." So,
Cheers to our
and was that?
let's cheer our husbands.
Cheers to our husbands. Cheers. I like that. I keep asking my husband to come on the show as a guest, but I think he's shy. One year I'll just pull him in. So I actually tell him often that I really appreciate all of his support and his guidance for helping me financially be able to start to get to where I am. And so now from this point forward, I'm working on becoming his sugar mama. That's the agreement. He was my sugar daddy, and now I am very quickly, I keep telling him, you just watch. I'm going to be your sugar mama one day.
You can retire early.
Probably not, but a girl can dream, right?
Yes, please do.
So I'm not giving up, that's for sure. So yes, shout out to our husbands. So something that we talked about a little bit briefly, like very briefly earlier, but one of the hurdles in horticultural therapy, but also as a designer. So I'm a freelance landscape designer, and both of us have experienced this almost like a knocking of heads where it comes to charging for your services. Some
Mhm.
people still don't have a fully comprehensive understanding of what it is that we offer
Yeah.
and the service that we provide. And then we give them the bill and they're like, "What? You're going to charge me for this? I just thought you were going to do it out of the goodness of your heart."
Mhm.
No.
Yes, I know.
And it's hard. It's hard.
It's a
So
it's a challenge.
I know that one of the things for me has been the social media and using it as a platform for education, right? I know that big part of it is setting the expectation that this is what this is, right?
Yeah.
So, in terms of design in the language that I use, is that it's a lot easier to fix a patio on paper than it is when you're halfway through building the patio, right? Like you're paying for the plan. And then
Mhm.
with horticultural therapy, the way that I think about it personally, um, is that I don't think people really understand the value of it as a preventative medicine. So many people, I think, go to horticultural therapy when they've tried everything. They've tried being medicated, they've tried doing the yoga, they've tried doing classes, they've tried doing group therapy and nothing's working. And then they do like this last ditch effort when they're desperate to go to horticultural therapy. And it's like, "Oh my gosh, I just like," but
Yes.
you can do horticultural therapy as preventative medicine to right?
Yes, before you get too far, but I do forest therapy. I think horticultural therapy
Oh, yeah,
requires
sorry, I meant forest
different
therapy.
plants, yes, which
Yeah,
I can't name plants. Some trees perhaps, but
that's
yeah.
alright.
I work a lot with people who are on, medical leave. My favorite time to start working with them is that they've just seen a doctor, they're considering medication, depending on whether they're already on medication or starting, or they're wondering whether they wanna be there. I'm like, "Well, let's explore all the things that you can do." So
Mhm.
either medication or without, what happens if you do this? What happens if you start going for a 10-minute walk every day?
Yep.
A lot of people don't have access to being in the forest, but there's different ways to do forest therapy. You can surround yourself with some plants. You can find your favorite tree. Actually, one a very mindful exercise is to go for your walk and find your favorite tree. And every time you see your favorite tree, you get excited, high in your head. You can go ahead and hug it if you want. But that's a way again to connect if you can
Mhm.
cherish that one tree.
Yeah.
There's different ways to do it. But yes, convincing people because psychotherapy is not an issue because most insurance will pay for that. But forest therapy in itself, people see it. You mean it's a walk in the forest? So I
Right.
can do that. Absolutely. I was trained by the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy based in California, and we now have um, a Canadian association that's similar called Nature and Forest Therapy Canada. And NFTC is putting more effort, especially this year, in promoting the practice and doing just that, trying to educate people to see, what it is and why you might want to go out there with a guide. And there's
That's
also the
awesome.
aspect of, with a group versus by myself.
Right.
Most people I talk to who've gone through forest therapy will see the benefit of doing this as a group. Then you can hear from other people and their experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I personally can vouch for it, and I'm so grateful that I ended up finding an industry where I work with nature every day. Like
Mhm.
it's something that, right, I reap the benefits every day. So Nature and Forest Therapy Canada, and they're doing work to create more awareness around the services and what it is that we do, right? Or that you guys do. And I'm wondering, you mentioned that psychotherapy is covered by a lot of doctors and physicians. And forest therapy isn't here,
No.
but it is in other countries.
Oh, yes?
Oh, yes.
Well, yes, I know there's some countries that have built hospitals in the forest. And
Yeah. And
mhm.
I want to say the Netherlands, I think. It's either the Netherlands or Sweden.
Some Asian countries like South
Yeah.
Korea.
But they can prescribe time in nature.
Yes, well, we can too now through Parks. Parks is an organization that started in the US. and then it was brought into Canada. I registered. I'm a prescriber now through Parks, and I can prescribe nature. And if you go to Conservation Halton, for example, Whistling Garden,
Yeah.
Toronto Zoo, and there's different partners throughout Canada. And the work is we need to find more partners so there's more places to go.
Right.
Even Parks Canada, you can get some instances of discovery pass, but it gives you access to discounted or free access to these places. I want all the doctors to become prescribers. I want all the mental health
Yeah.
prescribers, because if they say it, then people listen.
Right. Man, I'm sort of I'm seeing in my head you like conducting a whole forest therapy session with like a bunch of physicians and
Mm.
prescribers. That's like this is why you need to prescribe this.
Yes. Harvard has a course for doctors and then mental health people. Actually, anybody can register, but specifically for medical practitioners to engage and to understand how it works and why you want to prescribe nature and you want to engage in it yourself. Because
Wow.
because doctors are also, it's been really difficult for them as well, right?
Hmm.
As a mental health specialist, I have psychotherapists. I have to take care of myself
Yeah.
space for anybody else. So spending time in nature, especially if I'm tired, when I don't feel good, I can head out and 100% I always feel better and I don't feel any better. So
Hmm.
I've got evidence that moving forward, despite again how I feel, is always leads to positive.
Right. Well, we will definitely do whatever we can to get more people prescribing.
Mhm.
Whenever, if you need a cheerleader, Nadia, you just call me up and you let me know whose door I'm knocking on because
We'll do that.
let's start a movement. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do it. So we are just about out of time, but I do want to ask you about a couple of things. So one is I'm always obsessed with books and what people are reading. And you mentioned The Nature Fix by Florence Williams.
Mhm.
Can you mention this book? Like what is
Let me show you what.
what's yeah.
So this book was sent to me. Still don't quite know how.
Oh,
I think it was through the association. I just love how she talks about, again, the science behind forest therapy. So she traveled all over different countries, talking to researchers, professors, people who are practicing this. And that's how I learned about hospitals in the forest and how other countries are treating the elderly and then sick people, mental health or physical health. And
mhm.
she what it is, even in the US, the work that they're doing there. So and it was such an easy read and so interesting. I put little sticky notes everywhere inside the book, but I always bring it on my walk so I can show people. And again, more we get people interested in nature
Yeah.
through reading or through experiencing, then my hope is that people will care more. And if we care about something, we take care of it.
100%. I say that all the time. Personally, I take it to the kids. So in my work, I want to get in as many classrooms as possible with as young as possible because there are lots of supports and classes and workshops and clubs to support our grade 7 8s in high schools and in colleges and universities, but I believe that that is too late. We need the grade 4s and younger to get excited about nature and our
Mhm.
bugs and our pollinators and plants, right? And if we don't have them by grade 4, I'm not sure when we're going to turn that around, right? So I'm trying to get them young, convert them
Yes.
young. Come to the dark side. We have cookies and sunflowers. There's a software program that you mentioned that I'm not familiar with. So I wanted to ask you about it called Scribbery or Scribberry?
Very. Yeah.
Scriberry. Okay, so what is this?
Unrelated to forest therapy, it's a platform that a lot of doctors and therapists will use, and it's AI based. And it just helps us deal with a lot of admin tasks that are related to having clients and for doctors' patients.
Yeah.
So it listens to a session or a consultation, and then it will create a note for you. So that, and what I do is I review the note, make sure that we've grasped what we wanted to grasp, and
Yeah.
that's tons of times
Oh
for
my gosh.
reviewing the notes. Yes, so it's been very, very helpful, and it's compliant with the regulations here within Canada. It's not just ChatGPT, right?
Right. Wow. That is, I've been doing a little bit of a deep dive in AI and landscape as business. And one of the hurdles for myself and a lot of other sales and designers is that we go for that initial site meeting and we are taking notes as we're talking to them. And the smallest details can be missed or overlooked, like the dog's name. right? Or the name of the kids, or maybe one of the members of the family has a favorite sport. And this sounds like something that would capture all that.
It could, yes. There's different platforms like that could do that 100%. So
I am totally going to. This might be my gold nugget that I get out of this. We were talking about you giving somebody a light bulb 10 years from now. Well, I think you just gave me a light bulb.
well,
So,
let me tell you about Agentive, Agentiiv, giving me a bursary to try to upscale my business. I've been so impressed with them so far.
yeah.
So they are AI agents, but that cover different specialties. So
Yep.
there's a writer for LinkedIn, there's a creative one, and I can't remember, there's so many, but again, they're depending on what you're trying to do, there'll be an agent for that. And
Hmm.
they if you create a plan giving you ideas, how do I do that? Okay, let me show you how to do that.
Yeah. I've definitely done some work with the generative versus agentative. So there's an agent IA, so that's, or AI, so that's some almost like a someone that is specialized in one thing. So the creative or generative AI, it's when you put the input and it gives you the output type thing, right? So, and you said the actual company was called Agentive?
Yes, agent IIV.
IIV. Okay. Yeah, because there's agentive AI is like a way that AI can work, but also generative AI. So very cool. That's another one I will have to look up. So thank you for sharing. Very cool. I'm absolutely thrilled that we had the opportunity to chat with each other. Before I let you go, I'm wondering if you have your questionnaire in front of you, would you be willing to share the joke that you wrote and shared with me?
Oh, yes, I don't need to look at it.
You know it? You already know it?
Know it.
It's so
Yeah,
cute.
it's one of my invitations sometimes with my groups.
Yeah.
I give them a little scroll of paper with a different joke on it, and I ask them to see if they can share that well-being with the beings around them. So my favorite dad joke really related to nature there. It's somebody that says, I was looking up and I was looking at this acorn and it kept getting bigger and I wasn't understanding why. And then it hit me.
It's so good. Nadia, I love a good dad joke, and that is on point. Awesome. Thank you again so much for sharing the last hour with me, talking about the work that you do. Once again, your company is Wander Roots, so people can certainly check you out. You're in the Etobicoke, Toronto area. And is this Wander Roots com? So COM is on Instagram, right? So
It's
Wander,
Wanderoots.
yeah,
So
so Wander Oots com on
yes,
Instagram.
wondering.
Beautiful. Thank you again so much, Nadia, and I'm sure I will see you around.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Cheers.
Cheers.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Hops and Hedges, hosted by me, Heather Gerard of My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's a quick word from our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, landscaping businesses need modern tools to keep up with constant change, and that's where EXT comes in. EXT is transforming how landscaping, snow removal, and construction companies manage their operations. Using streamlined client management, real-time financial insights, and a modern mobile app your team will actually enjoy using. And with flat-rate pricing, there are no surprises, just clarity and control. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech to learn more. For additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you.